For every son and daughter, shining ever bright. Freedom, faith, and family, the pillars of our stand. Building up our people, strong across the land from generation to generation. Wisdom passed along where every single member knows exactly where they belong. Yeah, freedom, faith, and family, a powerful decree for the American spirit, wild and truly free. Yeah, wild and truly free. Now freedom ain't just words, it's there, we breathe each.
So speaking of, empathy, Charlie Kirk, the great, the one, the only, Charlie Kirk, said empathy was a Trojan horse. And I think that's a good way to describe it. And he said empathy is used as a weapon. Charlie Kirk argued that empathy is a Trojan horse. It's a made-up New Age term used to bypass your logic and force you to accept lies to be nice. I looked up how, empathy, how new that word is, and it was made in the night. I figured it's been around forever and ever, but it was the early 1900s is when it was actually made. So it's not New Age, it just recently happened, but it is interesting. It is a newer word. But he says it's a made up New Age term used to bypass your logic and force you to accept lies to be nice. Sympathy versus empathy. Sympathy says, I see your pain and I care. Empathy demands, I must feel what you feel and affirm your reality, even if it's false. So you think of subjects like transgenderism. So
I'm very sympathetic towards that.
So you're sympathetic, but empathetic. I feel your pain.
Yeah,
Affirm
I'm
your reality.
not going to affirm that, though.
Yeah, that's the difference. So people that don't have those beliefs we can feel pain for the confusion, but we can just say it's confusion and say, I'm sorry that you're going through it.
What can we do to help you get past this in a healthy way?
Right. So I think that's a good example, is that you do not have to affirm other people's reality, what they think is reality, at least.
Mm-hmm. It demands that you feel it too.
Yeah. Allie Beth Stuckey, I don't think you like her very much.
I don't like her.
But she said, biblical love is not just being nice. Sometimes love requires telling the truth, even if it hurts feelings. Modern empathy demands you agree with someone's politics to prove you care. And what it's interesting, usually, empathy is really big on the left. And you've got to, if you don't approve of their thoughts and their feelings, then you're a bad person. But I have my thoughts and my feelings, and they won't approve them because it goes against theirs. So they don't see it the other way around. It's always approving what they believe. So it's used as a weapon. It's used as a sword, and to fight against what others believe.
I can't see the full chat. Crystal said something, but I can't see it.
I know, it's because that heart's in the way for me. Yeah. Is that the same for you?
Can I make it go away? Oh, yeah, that heart's in the way.
Yeah. Hold on. It says, this is really good way empathy is explained, and I don't think it lived up with what you described. I don't know what she said there.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on that a little more, Crystal?
I don't know if you mistyped, but I don't understand it.
We got a heart there too that we can't see the full thing.
Yeah.
That we can't. Can it go away?
Oh, she just disagrees with the definition.
Oh, okay.
So you can put your definition in there, Crystal, and we'll. You can have empathy without agreeing.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess the point is, though, politically,
I think it's taken on a different.
Right. So I don't disagree with you, Crystal, but I think it's used in the political environment, which is the environment that me and April talk about a lot, as kind of a weapon.
Yeah, because especially these protesters, they use empathy as if you don't agree with their pain and affirm it,
then you're against
them. So
as a person,
right. It's taken on a whole new meaning.
It's
for
like, I'm
the
not
left.
against you as a person. I'm against just what you're saying. I just don't agree with you.
Yeah.
I wish you the best. So I looked at kind of biblically, what, again, empathy is a newer word, so it's not like empathy's in there, but you can find some examples. And in Leviticus 19:15, it says, it's about justice being blind. It says, you shall not be partial to the poor, but in righteous shall you judge. God forbids letting empathy for the unprivileged cloud judgment. Justice is based on truth, not status. So a lot of times, I'll say something, not a lot of times, but sometimes I'll say things on Facebook that can be, that can feel judgmental. And it is. I am passing judgment on acts.
I'm super judgy.
And they always kind of misquote, like, you're never supposed to judge. No, if you need to know, if you judge, you're going to be judged that same way. Like, if you say, hey, you're a bad person because you cheat, steal, and lie, but you do the same thing, well, God's going to judge you the same way. And to me, that whole thing is judgment. I can judge acts. I have to teach my kids, hey, don't hang out with bad kids. If they're drinking, if they're smoking, if they're doing bad things, I don't want you hanging out with them.
We flat out told people.
So they have to judge that.
Yeah. We flat out told them they can't hang out with, like, they brought people over, like, you're not hanging out with them anymore.
Yeah.
We've done that.
Yeah.
So
there was one young lady that stunk really bad, and she cussed, like,
she would cuss in front of me, in front of Jackie when she was very young.
Of course, that didn't last very long. So
I told her flat out. I said, if you say one more bad word, you'll never come back here, and I'm taking you home. Yeah. And she like.
You also told her she needed to wear deodorant.
And I did, because.
This is like her freshman year, and she didn't wear deodorant.
She didn't wear deodorant.
Like, hey, you're old enough to wear.
She's like, I have hyperhidrosis. I'm like, put it on more often.
Even more reason you need.
I'm
to,
like,
you need to wear deodorant.
I don't think she did. I just don't think she showered. But anyway, tell your kids to put on deodorant. People, it's respectful.
I don't know how we
when you get in my car and you stink up the whole freaking van.
Well, even Jackie today, I was like, hey, you need to wear deodorant before you go play sports.
Yeah, we tell our kids when they stink.
You smell like onions.
Yeah. But
they learn, after feeling a little bit bad about that, they're going to learn pretty quick, like, hey, I don't want to be that.
Well, even like Lily will come up to me and she's like, no, I want you to tell me when I stink, because I don't want to stink in front of like real people. like we're not real people, but.
So yeah, the point is though, you can't judge people's heart. Like, we do know, kind of going back to, I don't know what people have been through. I'm not going to judge their heart, but I am going to judge their actions, and there's going to be consequences for actions. Those two things can happen without judging somebody's heart. So, let's see here. So that was Leviticus, for those that want to know, Leviticus 19:15. Truth over comfort, Matthew 16:23. Jesus rebukes Peter for trying to empathize him out of the cross, calling him a stumbling block because his mind was on human concern rather than God's. And then the third one, the love of discipline. In 2 Thessalonians 3:14-15, we are told to let a brother feel shame for sin so he can repent. Toxic empathy says, never make them feel bad. Biblical love says shame leads to salvation. I don't know, even like within our own church, sometimes it feels like, people shouldn't change because of shame. I disagree with that. I think shame, I don't want people to like drown in shame. I think that's where it becomes, that becomes toxic, right?
Yeah.
It leads to depression. You got to be careful of that. And I will say sometimes, even with my own kids, I was like, I want to make sure they feel it sometimes. And I think sometimes I've told you this, I can take it too far, and I have to be careful with it. I think a little bit of shame, like, hey, what you've done is wrong. Like today, in front of everybody, I grabbed Jackie and I told her, and I sat her up with my strength, and she went straight up. And I said, you don't put your head down. You watch the girls, you cheer for them, and that was it. And she sat there, and she didn't cheer very hard, but she did.
Because she was wiping away tears.
Yeah. But she
pulled it together.
She's going to learn. And next time that happens, and I don't, when you don't play, and this was a tournament, there was like a whole bunch of games, but when you don't play, I understand. It doesn't feel good.
Sometimes, when you feel that shame, you might have to take a minute to feel it and, collect yourself.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. But I don't think shame is necessarily a bad thing to feel.
Yeah. They've tried to shame us out of shame.
Yeah, I think
haven't they?
Shame makes me correct my behavior.
Yeah.
So when I feel that shame, it might take me a minute to get over it and stop boo-hooing about myself. And that's fine. Take that minute. But as long as you don't stay there in that boo-hoo moment.
And I think there are different people that feel things differently. Like, we have our oldest daughter, right? You can look at her wrong and she'll cry. Mm-hmm. Like, her shame hits her hard, and her feelings, she has like tons of empathy too, by the way. She's like an empath or whatever.
So why I was always
we've had to kind of teach her
to stay away from people who are dramatic.
Yeah,
because she absorbs it.
Just be careful of it.
Yeah,
being too emotional and too empathetic, in my opinion, is dangerous. Not because the political, but because that too, but because you feel it so much. Some people feel it so much that they just drown in it. It's like the Green Mile. He was drowning in empathy and feeling of other people's pain and wanted to be done with it. So you do have to be careful of that. Next question is, if you guys can answer this, that'd be cool. It says, can you truly love someone if you refuse to tell them the truth because you're afraid to hurt their feelings? Is niceness actually a form of spiritual enabling? So, yeah, I think that's a good question. So can you truly love someone if you refuse to tell them the truth because you're afraid to hurt their feelings? Is that the yes or no in the chat, if you can put that?
I believe you. I think you can. I don't think that. But there's a hindering kind of love that if you're not willing to tell them the hard things that they need to fix, it'll keep them in like this, like they can't move.
Yeah.
But I think you can love them. I think they, I watch Dr. No, and usually with Dr. No, that's like the obese people that he does weight loss surgery on them, but they have to first lose weight before they get the surgery done. He's like, you could have lost 30 pounds this month.
I don't know if he's from a different country or has a speech. I think he's got a speech impediment.
He goes, you're not going to starve. He goes, you've eaten the food that you need for the last 30 years. And she's like, well, I gotta eat something. No, you don't. He's hilarious. But anyway, so Dr. No, where was I going with this? Oh,
I don't know.
So the parents, typically the people that have these obese issues, like morbidly obese to where they can't even walk, and they're in like the 400 or 500 pound range, so they're in bad shape. Most of these people, almost every episode I've watched, it's due to a parent's love. They've made excuses. Well, he's just hungry. He can't get full, or she's this, that, and the other. And the parents give them the food. And there's in no moment do I look at that parent and think they don't love their child, because that's the opposite of what I see.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to love their child in an effective way. They don't want to see their child suffer, but because they didn't want to see their child suffer and teach them discipline with food, now they're in this situation where they literally have to starve their child.
Yeah.
Before they can. And Dr. No, he starves them. He puts them on like a 600 calorie diet, and these people can take it because they have such a large fat reserve. But now it's because of that parent's love, their child is in a situation where they literally have to starve.
Yeah.
To get a surgery that is life-saving for them.
I think that there's and I agree, you can, so the question is, can you truly love someone if you refuse to tell them the truth because you're afraid to hurt their feelings? I think yes, but it's not godly love.
It's the short answer is yes.
It's a different. There's different degrees or different intelligence with love and different feelings with love, and God has like the perfect amount of everything. And if you end up loving someone so much that it puts them in a bad situation, like if you have a stinky kid and you don't tell them because you don't want to hurt their feelings,
They don't have friends.
well then, yeah, they're not going to have friends because no one wants to hang out with them.
Right.
If you tell someone that they can keep eating when they're morbidly obese and they end up having a heart attack and their life goes downhill because of it, your love brought misery. And sometimes I think that happens because it's not godly love.
We have to love responsibly.
Yeah.
And if you don't figure out how to love your kids responsibly, then it's going to hinder them. You will cause more damage than you will prosperity for them.
Yeah.
What's up?
No, it's one of the brothers put why you do that? I think he's quoting.
Yeah, he's quoting Dr. No. Why you do that?
You need to lose 30 pounds.
You could have
Classic
lost
Dr.
30
Nam
pounds last month.
quote of however you spell it or however you spell his name.
There's no protein in mashed potatoes.
Dude, if you haven't watched that doctor, you gotta watch
He's
him.
hilarious.
He's the best.
So funny.
You've got to support him.
Honestly, the success rate he has is really good, and he has a lot of, like on a lot of, at the end of a lot of his shows, you see them have the surgery and they drop 400 pounds, a lot of them.
Yeah. Yep. All right, the other part here, probably the most controversial that we'll talk about, and then we'll wrap this up, is protective leadership. So we've got that's what I would title this, action over words. So you remember what happened in Ohio, East Palestine, when I think they had that train? Didn't that train pollute the area?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
the big plane exploded.
The Biden administration tweeted empathetic support. Trump showed up with water and food. He wasn't even president.
Yeah.
He didn't offer a tearful speech. He offered presence and resources. We need leaders who show up with water trucks, not just feelings. So, Trump has always been divisive with his words, but with my perspective, his actions, and I don't agree with all of them, but I would say I like him as president because his action, he's more of an action than a words president.
I think he truly loves this country with a disciplined kind of love, with a responsible kind of love. And in my opinion, I criticize him too because sometimes I don't think he goes hard enough.
Yeah.
But I think he is a president that truly loves this country and he wants to see it prosper. And I think he wants to make that name for himself because he is a bit of a narcissist.
Yep. Definitely a narcissist, but I think he does.
He's a loving narcissist.
Yeah. I mean, you see how he treats the troops. And
Yeah.
I don't know, this might be all presidents, but I know he was calling every soldier that had passed away. And he was calling the family.
That was nice.
The Gold Star families, Trump doesn't give therapeutic hugs. He shares the righteous anger of the Afghanistan Gold Star families, the families that, I think there's like 13 of them that passed away when they pulled out, and they pulled out in a bad way, where Trump showed empathy and called them and was mad about what happened and shared. So it just kind of goes to show you that, to me, empathy, like, of course, there's toxic empathy, but good empathy and sympathy is more about action than anything, not necessarily words. All right, so that was kind of what we wanted to go over. I think there's a lot of things that we see today where we, the left and right disagree. I think you can kind of bring it back to toxic empathy. In my opinion, the left has to the extreme. Not all liberals are leftists, by the way, and not all liberals have toxic empathy. I think that toxic empathy takes people almost into what I would call the leftist, where they're so far left they can't see anything right. And even if you're in the middle, leaning to the left, you're against them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the toxic empathy that I wanted to talk about today. And appreciate you guys spending a little bit of your time on a Saturday with us. Please, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the notification, share. Yes, please share. But hit that notification so every time we pop on or if we do a video, it'll notify us so you can watch it. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Have a good Sunday. Tomorrow.
Happy Sabbath.
Bye.
We're still on. She doesn't know how to stop it. Hello. Maybe next time we'll talk about Kate Middleton and her stupid pantsuits.